I'm Christopher Titus, and this is
the Armageddon Update.
The Omicron Surge. What is it? Why is it? And how come your Trumper uncle still can't taste Christmas dinner or smell that he needs to wash that scuzzy 5-year-old MAGA hat?
Fox News.
But they forgot the word.
Because viruses mutate like Mike Pompeo. Mike, you lost 100 pounds in a year. What are you, on the Heisenberg diet? So let's talk about the new variant, the ups and the downs and the ins and the outs, especially if you're in the ICU. In, out. People are saying Omicron is much more mild. You know, like my old relationships. Nina used to cheat on me and punch me in the face. Louise just cheated on me, so it was milder. So that's the level of the new Omicron variant. It's not the girlfriend that shot you in the face. She just gave you a lifetime of trauma. So it's better? I believe a vaccine for bad relationships needs to be developed by the CDC ASAP. I'm still hearing a lot of, COVID is just a cold, man. 99.75% will survive it. Well, first of all, dumb, angry guy wearing American flag underwear without having a GED. COVID kills at an alarmingly higher rate than the flu. Between 1 and 3%. The flu kills at less than 0.003%. That means that currently, if you are saying COVID is the flu, you are provably stupid. In America, the flu kills between 12,000 and 45,000 a year. COVID has killed 800,000 in 2 years. However, because of masking mitigation in 2020, we had less than 10 flu deaths. Yeah, I know, masks don't work. Shut up. So, is Omicron more mild? Well, here's the evidence for Omicron is milder thesis. According to experience with mice and hamsters, the variant doesn't attack the lungs as aggressively as Delta did. So, if you are a rodent, the CDC says you don't have to wear a mask. Dr. Fauci has said the Omicron variant so far appears to be less severe than the Delta. But he added that assessment is based on multiple sources of now preliminary data. And he cautioned we really need to do more definitive assessment of severity with a longer term follow-up. So what he's saying there is, because human beings aren't rodents, we really need to do some more studies on human beings. Because the hospitals currently are full of unvaccinated human beings who are on ventilators, dying, or ending up with lifetime liver, lung, or brain damage. The good news about Omicron is that if you're a hamster or a gerbil, you no longer have to social distance. I'm Christopher Titus, and this is the Armageddon Update. God damn, I wish I was a gerbil. Hey everybody, Christopher Titus Podcast. We are here on the Titus Podcast. I think we're in our 520-something episode. Anyway, with me as always, the lovely bombshell Ray.
What's up, people?
And the Highlander.
There can be only one. Okay, even though I'm butter basting with Corningware. I'm trying to have
I feel like I need to jump in and fix
three.
this.
I won't stop at 2. I don't care.
Callback from the last podcast. That's very awesome. We are switched around today. We have a guest today. We have Dr. Eric Feigl-Ding, a epidemiologist and nutritionist that I have been following for quite a while on Twitter, and he makes me laugh and scares the living shit out of me pretty much daily. Go to Dr. Eric
Ding.
Dr. Eric Ding and follow him. We will be talking about him later. I want to talk about the Armageddon Update. So Omicron is now raging to the point where our government today gave up. They said, hey, just accept everybody's going to get it. Whoa.
We need papers of like, yep, fuck it.
Can we? Yeah, exactly. That's what we needed. We needed like a CDC person just go, I don't even know anymore.
Nothing we can do.
So I think we should be like that with our taxes. We're like, you know what? Yep. It's in the mail. You didn't get it? You didn't get it?
Everybody's going to get it, except for the rich.
Yeah. So we're in trouble. And they're so, what I've noticed about Omicron is they become vague, very vague than they used to be. And I don't know if it's because, as every administration does, instead of nutting up and just going, here are the facts, they start thinking, the election is coming. We better start balancing it, half-assing it. Oh. And the woman that's running the CDC right now, I have to be honest, not good at all. Yeah. She said on TV the other day, she goes, the good news is 75% of the people that are dying had 4 comorbidities. Is that the good news? Is it good news that we're killing sick people faster instead of letting them get healthy?
Are we talking about Dr. Walensky?
Yes. Yeah, that's what she said. And then not only that, she said that she did couch it. It's not as evil as I just made it sound.
I like that you were like Dr. Eric Feigl-Ding, but the woman that runs the CDC. So it's Dr. Rochelle Walensky.
Dr. Rochelle Lewinsky, who, by the way, he's got a great background, but I think she's getting a lot of crap from the administration on how to put things because it's not making sense and they're contradicting each other.
It's not, maybe they've learned, because we're 2 years into this, that even when somebody comes out and says, what we know right now, the studies are showing this, X, Y, and Z, whatever, and then 2 months later, everyone says, but you said that.
Right.
Like, I prefaced it by saying what we know right now.
But Rachel and I had this exact conversation. It's like, dumb people, listen, science does this. We keep researching and finding new things, or else we'd still be building fires in caves.
Yeah.
But we found out new shit. We invented and created new shit. We did more research.
Well, by virtue of the fact that there is now research of COVID-19, that means that science changes. Because you couldn't have done that research 5 years ago on COVID-19.
So you're saying they didn't know, so they found new stuff, and there's a new information has come about,
That's
and they keep telling us. And dumb people are like, yeah, but that's not what you said. Yeah, you also used to be this big and weigh 8 pounds. You're now a grown human being who can barely drive a car.
They're adapting to the changing what is, know, and
50 years ago, I didn't need a vaccine for COVID-19. Why do I need one all of a sudden?
And now, they're dealing with those assholes at the same time.
That's
but
some shit crazy.
It's a rapidly changing thing, and they are not sorcerers. They're not wizards. They don't. They've never had this either, and they're trying to learn it faster than it's happening, which isn't possible. And things are like Omicron is so much different than Delta, is so much different than the original strain. So I would say that those are the people that are way more informed than any of the rest of us idiots toilet tweeting.
I would say that.
And maybe we should listen to them, but also understand that they're giving the best recommendation at that time, and it's going to change.
It is a fluid situation. Bloop.
Yeah, I call it throne communication. And toilet tweeting, it just sounds bad. Poop tweeting was also good.
That's because you do it.
Elitist. Calling it a throne.
You being defensive about it. It is his throne.
I am not at all
I will tell you,
defensive.
we were on the road in December, and some hotel room, we have the toilet lids.
With a bidet?
That when you let it go, it just slowly does
it
that.
just calms you down. Yeah.
It goes, all right, I'm not going to slam. Good. Every good street.
There was some
It's the
hotel
Tesla
room
of
we
the-
were in the middle of the night. Slam! Damn it! And so it is his throne, I will say.
And these Motel 6 need to upgrade.
Yeah, he
they
was
need to
very
upgrade.
upset.
So we are going to have a guest today. That's why if you look at the set, we're backwards.
It is weird.
Because we wanted to be able to face our
problems?
giant screen. No, well, that is our problem.
Yeah.
So Eric.
And I will say just really quickly,
Yep.
I plan on saying some of his credits to his face as well. But one
it's
of the
only
reasons,
an hour-long podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, dude.
One of the reasons that we know who he is and we follow him on Twitter is because he's known as being one of the first big whistleblowers about COVID and about how bad it was about to get, and really took a lot of crap for that.
Took a lot of crap for it and was proven to be right every time. That's the problem with this guy, is that like he came out and people were like, you got to calm it down, man. Bring it down. They called him a doomsayer. And now 800,000 people are dead in our own country. No, he was just saying it. It wasn't. He was just a sayer.
Yeah.
He wasn't. He was.
It's two words.
Yeah,
it was doom.
Yeah,
It was.
yeah. So why don't we? You want to go? We should go talk to him now.
I think he's probably waiting.
All right. Let's go to Zoom right now with Dr. Eric. I had to get the pronunciation. Feigl-Ding.
Very nice.
All right, here we go. Hey everybody, Christopher Titus Podcast. We have an amazing guest today, a guy who I've been following on Twitter for a long time, a guy that rattled the cages of the coronavirus and the anti-coronavirus community when it started. Ladies and gentlemen, Eric Feigl-Ding. How you doing, brother?
Hey, how's it going?
And I pronounced your name right.
Yeah, that's close enough.
All right, good. So I want to talk to you because I've been following you on Twitter for so long, and what you have done over and over is literally given the most accurate information. Because of the podcast, I've had to be on top of it. So I read what you post, and then I go match it, and holy crap, you've been kind of right almost every time, haven't you? Like 95%, 99% of the time.
Yeah, for the worse.
Yeah. I know you're like the angel of death. I get it.
It's kind of like this shit is not over. COVID is over. No, it's not over. It's going to get worse. CDC director is wrong. And of course, it gets some backlash. But in certain ways, I'm not scared of the backlash because if I believe what is true and what is true is, it's kind of like the Don't Look Up with DiCaprio, right? He's trying to say, this is really bad. Don't try to sugarcoat it. Not everyone wants to listen, but that's okay. But if you want to listen, I'm here for it.
So you were the first one, at least on social media, to call it in January of 2020.
Can I just say, I just want to do this really quickly for everybody at home.
Oh, yeah, let's give you credit.
I want to give, this is not someone that toilet tweets, although maybe you do, I don't know, but that's not your only accreditation. You are an epidemiologist and health economist and a senior fellow at the Federation of American Scientists in Washington, D.C., chief health economist for Microclinic International. You were previously faculty and researcher at Harvard Medical School and Harvard Chan School of Public Health, and an epidemiologist at the Brigham and Women's Hospital.
That just filled up the entire screen.
Yeah,
for
man,
the credits.
You got it. A former life.
Because the only reason is like our listeners and watchers on YouTube are going to be like, who's the guy in the puffy jacket and sitting in the closet? So we wanted to make sure
Who's the rapper?
He's a rapper. MC Ding. So on January 20th, I started noticing the videos coming out of Wuhan in November and December. They were putting up stuff on, and I told Ray, because we're on the road doing comedy all the time. And I was watching them, as I always say, shooting fire hoses full of Roundup at buildings and welding people into their buildings. I thought, something's coming. And then I saw you, then I started following you in January, and you were like, something's coming. And everybody gave you shit about it, didn't they?
Yeah, people still give me shit sometimes, but I think the precautionary principle is really the thing that will save lives.
Right.
Some people say it's too doomsday, too preppy. One of those end of times preppy kind of people. But no, I think if you look at all the data, and I have relatives in China, I also have a lot of colleagues and faculty in China who work on these stuff, and I'm an epidemiologist.
Right.
So when you look at this, it's pretty clear that it was going to get out of control. Because if China couldn't even control it, with all their crazy locked people in a room kind of thing, couldn't get it under control, like the rest of the world was definitely not going to get in control. And by then it was already across the world. It was already in Europe, already in US.
Yeah, we didn't get it from people from China. We got it from Europe, right? People from Europe came over first.
Other than the Washington case, like all the New York outbreak, all that was from Spain and Portugal and Italy, actually, in the spring. So, but if you just say, like the scientific, well, there's some concern, but no one will listen.
Right.
You use the pedantic voice, no one will listen. You really have to lay it straight for people, like, Holy Mother of God, this is going to be a thermonuclear little bad pandemic.
Right.
And then people will actually wake up. And I think that early, forewarned is forearmed. And I think people need that early wake up warning, because if you don't say it in the strong enough way, people don't listen and don't react and don't prepare.
And the problem is our messaging is all done by people that their entire job is to try to get everybody to like them instead of getting, politicians. I'm kind of glad we were talking about Biden, that he's finally stepping to the mic and going, listen, this is bad. We're screwed. You're talking about voting rights and the variants. I jumped on it after you did, and I started going after it because I said the same thing. I go, if China is letting us have video of all hell breaking loose, that means all hell is going to break loose worldwide. They knew. Now, do you think we have a couple of family members in intelligence, and they have a theory? They have a little bit that it could. Do you think it came out of the lab accidentally? Do you think it was in a wet market? What do you think?
Yeah, the lab thing is not my favorite topic because we can't prove anything.
Right.
Honestly, we have nothing to go on, basically.
Right.
And, it could be, the worst case, it was, bioengineered bioweapon. But, most likely it was pretty natural. But there could be an in-between. It could be like they captured some bats or captured some animal, and then it leaked out of the lab naturally. So there's a natural virus that leaked out of the lab. And that kind of stuff happens all the time in many labs around the world. So it's not the first time to happen.
And I always say this.
I think that's possible as well. It could be a lab kind of accidental leak of a natural.
And I always say this too. I'm like, if this is the bioweapon they came up with, that makes you a little bit, if you're vaccinated, it makes you a little bit snotty.
For 3 years.
It's really not the best bioweapon. I think we could probably engineer something better that would take out 80% of the people like that if they needed to, right?
Yeah, but, I think what people oftentimes compare, say Ebola. Ebola is like 50% mortality. But the thing is, Ebola doesn't go pandemic in the same way because it kills people too quickly. What you need is almost like a virus that is very contagious. Half the people don't know they carry it asymptomatically, but keep spreading it. And then once it finds high-risk people, it really cuts them down. In certain ways, like the coronavirus here is like the perfect virus for going pandemic because it's harmless and asymptomatic in most people, but in a certain subset of people, it's really bad. And in certain ways, Omicron is that times 5 times 10. But Omicron, by the way, is 4 to 6 times more contagious than Delta, which is already twice as contagious as the Wuhan. So we're talking about something like potentially 10 times more contagious. Wow. And that is something we've honestly have never seen before. It's way worse than measles at this stage. And
but even then,
it's the contagiousness that actually will ultimately kill more people. And people keep forgetting that. People keep thinking, severe, or now they're talking, it's mild. The mild thing has almost very little impact compared to overall transmission because it can be 50% mild, but it can be it can double every 2 days. So at most, a mild bought you 2 days. Right. So
we have 100.
Just really misleading.
Just to explain to the people that what you're saying right now. So if Delta infected 100,000 people over a week, 2% died, whatever. Omicron is infecting 2 million people a week, and if you just start, even if it's a little bit milder, it's still going to kill just way more people.
Yeah, exactly. And, another thing, it's 2 million a day, by the way. It's not 2 million a week in the U.S. 2 million a day.
Again,
by the way, we're only capturing about 1 in 3, 1 in 4 cases.
Right.
You're a grim reaper, dude.
Out there. and by the way, Delta is 2 to 3 times more severe than Wuhan. So, but we keep talking about Omicron is milder, but we're talking about Omicron's milder than Delta. But if Omicron is just like 30% milder than Delta, but Delta is 2 to 3-fold worse than Wuhan. At best, we're just slightly back to Wuhan, right?
Right.
So I think people
don't sugarcoat it.
Thanks for making us all want to lock the doors and stay here now.
I had a question about this because they are saying it's milder. It seems like they're basing that on hospitalizations and death. And yet now we have 60-something% of people are vaccinated here in the United States. So wouldn't that skew those numbers and give people a false sense of security as well that aren't vaccinated?
Yeah. So I think people also are misled on Omicron because Omicron has high reinfection and high breakthroughs, right? If you're previously infected, you're not immune, no matter what Rand Paul says. And of course, you have breakthroughs. And the people who have breakthroughs obviously going to have milder cases. Mm-hmm. So that's why hospitalizations, overall look milder. But intrinsically, it's not much milder. If you rewound time back to December 2019, it wouldn't be any milder than Wuhan for sure.
Wow.
But again, the hospitalizations, we're on our 6th consecutive record hospitalization in the U.S. now. And that's because of this exponential math. You can be somewhat milder, but the exponential math easily swamps it out in 2-3 days.
Yeah.
And this is the shit show that we're in.
And it's a never-ending shit show, if I can correct you.
I don't know. I'm hoping it'll end. But the thing is, I think the spring will die down. It's going to die down by the end of this month. By the way, no, it'll peak at the end of this month. But I always tell people, but when it peaks, you're only halfway through the curve, right? You're only halfway through the marathon before it comes down on the other side.
What do you think?
We'll be good for a couple months, but the thing is, Omicron popped up in mid-November, and then it went global by the end of November. In 2-3 weeks, it went global. Yeah. It came out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
And that could easily happen again. Honestly, you just have one variant that pops up in some far-flung corners of the world, and it's going to go global pandemic really quickly in a modern society. People talk about 1918. Oh, 1918, the virus died out by itself. Yeah, the World War I ended. People stopped traveling, and back then, what starts in part of India or Africa stays in part of India or Africa.
Yep.
It doesn't go to Vegas the next day. Right. But here in this modern world, what happens in another corner of the earth, literally that variant ends up the rest of the world and doesn't get muzzled out. And that's why I think it's much harder to contain today than ever before. And you can't look at 1918, it just fizzled out and died out. Because probably there were many variants that were bad, but easily died out some part of the world. But right now, that doesn't happen. You have a really, really bad one like Omicron, and it gets easily selected and goes global.
Is the only solution an absolute 1 month shutdown globally, galactically?
Yeah, exactly. Even the space station. You guys are
I'm not a fan of lockdowns. No one's a fan of lockdowns.
Of course.
I think we need we're basically sandbagging at the last minute whenever the flood is already coming.
Right.
It's kind of the hurricane's already 1 mile offshore. Oh shit, I should board up the windows. Oh shit, I should start sandbagging my home. That's what we're doing all the time. We're not pre-building a seawall against a flood. We're basically always reacting whenever shit hits the fan. Well, this is why we're always in this treading water kind of reactionary phase. I think we need a high seawall. And the high seawall does not necessarily mean lockdown. The high seawall means we need all of the above, not just vaccines and boosters. We need, the N95 masks for all. We need, I personally, I'm a fan of ventilation and air disinfection. Because why? It doesn't care about your personal behavior. It doesn't care about I will not comply or I will comply. It doesn't care about your politics or your vaccine misinfo. The ventilation is opening window. It's disinfecting the air in the HVAC system. It's agnostic of your political beliefs or personal behavior. And it could actually end this pandemic. So with all the testing, masks, vaccines, all these other things on top of ventilation and air disinfection with HEPA filters, I hope you guys have a HEPA filter or something
we use
in your studio there.
We have
I think that is way better in stopping the pandemic than anything else.
But I feel like a lot of HVAC guys are anti.
So you're bringing the virus in your house just by hiring a guy that does duct work.
He's going to put it in.
I had an argument with one of them last year when I was installing some UV in my HVAC. But that's the beauty. It's agnostic of your politics, agnostic of your personal compliance, right? And if we had that, and again, it's not just HEPA filters. There's upper air room UV that's actually even more efficient. Opening windows. The solution to pollution is dilution. Actually, what we say in environmental epi. But it's literally the most important thing, and it's completely been neglected because people keep talking about it's droplet. If you don't see anyone, you're fine. And the most annoying thing is when people go into a bathroom and they say, there's no one else in the bathroom. I'm going to take off my mask.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
But the aerosol stay in the air for half an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours.
Wow.
Or they go, airport bathrooms, or they go in a taxi. The Uber driver puts it on when you get in the car, but then the moment you get out of the car, he takes it off. But then, next guy puts it on. That's not really safe. You really have to open the windows and not just pretend that, if you're not 6 feet from someone, that you're safe. And I think that's been one of the worst misinformation, this lack of recognition of airborne transmission.
No one's talking about that at all.
Yeah.
Except for us for Molecule.
Well, the thing is, there are scientists who talk about it, but they're not heard.
Right.
Right? And for the most part, the other problem is the true airborne nature of this virus is extremely inconvenient. Because if we recognize it's truly airborne, then all the 6 feet rules, right? Think about how many restaurants, how many malls, How many places have this 6 feet rule? Or, I'll just put up a plexiglass and I'm protected. No,
right.
That's a joke. Plexiglass is just as much as a joke as, face shields, right?
Yeah, because it's always this high. I always think, can it go around or over?
No, virus goes straight. Virus always goes dead straight.
It's got eyes.
Other than a direct sneeze, like those sneeze guards and the salad things, other than a direct sneeze, it doesn't really protect you. And this is where people completely forget that when you breathe the air, you're rebreathing a lot of other people's air.
Right.
And it's in our schools, it's even more shit show.
So Eric, here's the thing. So the problem with what you said about lockdown is a great idea, except once you figure in how human beings act and react, it will never work because people will not do it. No. If people got serious, so we would need 100% participation in a lockdown where everybody did everything exactly right for a month, and even then maybe it wouldn't stop spreading. What do you think about? I knew we were stupid. I say this in one of my new shows. I knew we were stupid. I didn't know we were X Games stupid. How do you see 5.4 or 5.5 million people dying in 2 years worldwide and 800,000 in your own country? And these people have got to come up to you. Have you gotten any death threats or anything? And just like, how do you explain to someone who refuses to believe like the facts? Like, how do you talk to people? Yeah,
it's hard. Like right now there's, when cases arise, they're saying, where's the hospitalizations? When hospitalizations happen, where are the deaths? And then when you show the deaths happening, they're not, they're with COVID instead
exaggerated
of because of COVID, right? That's the with arguments.
They had comorbidities.
But, I just point out the excess deaths. You have a typical, you just took out all deaths, all cause mortality. And the excess deaths is how many extra deaths, and you easily see the spikes of COVID every single wave. So this is you can't argue total deaths, right?
Right.
Total deaths are total deaths. There's no such thing as a mild death, by the way. There's this new
Omicron kills you.
I've actually heard that. And it's really baffles the mind. But you look at the total deaths, you can't argue that. And it's where did you think they came from? And they're suicides? Well, no, suicides actually, it actually shows that during schools, kids there's a higher rate of teenage suicides during school weeks than out of school. So it can't be school suicides or something like that. So altogether, sometimes you can just shake people as much as they can with the facts, but facts and data doesn't matter in this world sometimes to some people. I don't know. I think of something like cigarettes. When every smoker who smokes knows that cigarettes will cause cancer and cause heart attacks. But they don't quit until someone in their family has heart attack or cancer.
Even then.
I see it as an epidemiologist all the time, because before pandemic, we studied the behavioral stuff of things like smoking and alcohol and whatnot. It's when someone dies, that's when it gets real.
Yeah.
And unfortunately with COVID, what happens is it hits certain families with diabetes and obesity and some immunocompromised disease. But then if your family doesn't have that, no one in your family dies, and then they don't believe it, and then they get even more, entrenched in their, it's fake, right? But the moment someone dies in their family or gets seriously hospitalized, that's when it gets real. And, during the summer Delta wave, when, it was burning through Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, that's when a lot of people got vaccinated who were anti-vaxxers, because they saw someone in their family go to the hospital or die. And that's the God honest truth. And, it's when they were got the shock and awe of someone in their family to their face who died. That's when it gets real. And I hate to say it, but a lot of people won't act, just like cigarette smoking. They won't quit until it hits them in the face.
Yeah. I have a question for you, because I know one of the things you do is try and battle this COVID misinformation. And the thing that makes us more insane than anything is how quickly they pivot. Something gets disproved, and then it's a new thing. And then it's a new thing. I had a family member yesterday who's a federal agent, who may lose his job, said that this is the new one. I hadn't heard this before, that the scientist who claims to have developed the mRNA vaccine says that it does not work and that it actually makes COVID worse. Have you heard this one yet?
About Pfizer? I heard someone said Pfizer says their own vaccine doesn't work. I saw that yesterday. I'm like,
I looked it up, and what
so first, I don't know the exact context, but what I mostly have seen is that you see breakthroughs, right? Breakthroughs, the anti-vaxxers and the vaccine deniers see, he got vaccinated. He still got COVID. Right. Doesn't work. Well, first of all, it does work, not 100% of the time. It's kind of like your seatbelt and your airbag is not going to save your life in 100% of all car crashes. Right? And I think the other thing is hospitalization. It's more like math is really hard for people to accept, but it lowers your mortality risk, hospitalization by 10x, 20x. But there is going to be that one guy out of all your friends who, got vaccinated and got hospitalized, or maybe had died, right? And then the anti-vaxxers will be like, see.
Right.
But, of course, they don't look at the total stats. This is why, you can find someone who smokes, a pack a day and lives 100.
Yeah.
You can find some people who smoke.
Those outliers.
Lives 100 years old.
Drank every day.
Like George Burns was smoked a pack a day and lived to 99, 100.
Yeah.
But, those are outliers. But these outliers to these anti-vaxxers, to them, it proves their point.
Right.
But it does not if you look at the total data.
Right.
Well, here's what people don't get.
Data is this thing where they're like,
Yeah, but here's the thing. We used Riggs. It's so funny because being a stand-up comic, both of us, and dealing with the public all the time, you have to figure out a way to clear it up. And when I remember when they started dropping the word efficacy, and I was like, guys, people are. It's like a word that most people can't even wrap their minds around. 96% efficacy means 96% of the people won't get it. 4 out of 100 are going to get it. And when you said explaining, you actually described our entire country. People don't understand math
and don't want to
understand.
I know you worked at Harvard and you have some elite doctorates. Yeah, you're an elite, but I'm going to listen to the story I read on Facebook that I don't know where it came from.
Or podcasts.
Yeah, in certain ways, I don't blame people that they don't trust something or because they don't understand it. It's kind of like if you don't understand how some things work, some people just don't trust it. I get that. I get that mentality because I grew up in rural America. I grew up in central Pennsylvania, which is it's an extension of
it's Amish country.
I was going to say he's Amish.
Yeah,
and I get that because people in my hometown are the same way. It's like, you're just being elitist. You're just pretend you want to be smarter than me and show off that you're smarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I earned it. Yeah.
Exactly.
I went to Harvard, asshole.
Or I tell them, hey, eating bacon and sausages is going to give you diabetes, heart attacks, strokes, cancer, and all this other stuff under the sun. And it's like, well, you just want me to suffer and live like one of those vegans. And, I don't want to live for 100 years old. It's really hard. These people are having a hard life. And the same with smokers. A lot of people who smoke are having a really difficult life. And I think a lot of the elite, urban or suburban elites don't understand that if they've never lived in a world. And to tell them that you have to take away all these things that give them pleasure and joy, whether it's cigarettes or bacon and sausages or a normal living like in COVID, it's really hard. And it feels like it's kind of somewhat oppressive.
Yeah.
And you, of course, will grasp at straws at any, Facebook facts that seems to confirm your,
cognitive
dissonance
dissonance
about a lot of scientists and all that.
I appreciate I appreciate you making excuses for him. I really do. But here's the thing. I am a DF student who barely got out of high school. What I did after that, though, is I researched and I worked. And then we got the internet. And now, I will cross-check things 15 or 20 times. When people give me, shit on the podcast or the argument that you're wrong, I'm like, no, I can actually back it up with evidence because I'm not a moron. I think we've lost. There's a level of critical thinking we lost. The same people that you're saying that don't put down the cigarettes or eating sausage are the same people thousands of years ago that would throw sticks at the sun. You guys aren't paying attention to the facts. And I think that's what we need to call out. It's what you said at the beginning. It's time to get in their face and go, hey, guys, you're going to get sick or you're going to die or you're going to end up with a lifetime comorbidity because of this. Get serious. And the problem is we need leaders. I know you ran for Congress, right?
Yeah, many years ago.
Well, I don't want to talk about it. It looks like a bad relationship.
No, we can talk about it. It'll just suck up this entire show.
The anger and bitterness will flow. And then we'll talk about my ex-wife, and then we'll be 4 hours in. So I just want you to know that I think what you're doing is good. And the way you speak on Twitter and when you're on TV, we need voices that come out and go, listen, this is what's going to happen. Everything you've said that was going to happen has happened. I didn't know when you said Omicron was less virulent. I was like, oh no. And then you compared it to Wuhan and said it's just as bad as Wuhan. Then we're still screwed. Yeah. I have a question about the way things mutate too. So if Omicron went back a little bit on, on mortality, killing people, but it's way, way more infectious, we're still going to kill that many people. Could we have is it going to keep going less, or could we have a mutation that could twist it? And
this is a really good question. And I first of all, I agree with you that, I think there's a lack of, fact checking and just, acknowledging the reality of this world that a lot of our politicians delude their base into. So in terms of what's going next, I think there is like a fork in the road. Omicron is either going to be so contagious. So here's the optimistic. It's going to be so contagious that no other variant comes ever close enough to displacing it. Like it'll float in the background, right? But most people have developed immunity because it'll burn through the forest until there's nothing left to burn and everyone's been infected. And it's going to be hanging in the background. And nothing is ever going to match the infectiousness of Omicron, so nothing will displace it. Remember, Omicron displaced Delta because it's more contagious.
Right.
That's the optimal situation, and then it becomes like the common cold. That's possible. I don't think that is I don't think it's more than 50% likely, because on the flip side, we know that for example, last year in England they did a prevalence of your antibodies. 90% of people in April of last year were already infected. 90% of people had a COVID antibodies.
Wow.
And then of course they got vaccinated. So probably it was well over 95%. But yet, England still had huge waves later that summer. England's still having a huge wave, and hospitalization wave now. A record kids hospitalized, record pediatric deaths. And so what happens is there's waning. Just like vaccines wane, and by the way, boosters wane too. I haven't pointed out that too much. But just like vaccine and boosters wane, your natural immunity from infection also wanes. And we've seen this with Omicron. If you had alpha, beta, or delta previous infection, your neutralization in your blood against Omicron is nil. It's nil. And the same thing could happen next time. You could have another variant that is as evasive as Omicron, and your previous immunity was against Wuhan and against Delta and against Omicron, but not against the new thing. And all it takes is one unlucky outbreak somewhere in the world. Again, and the virus is so silent that half the people don't know they carry it. Someone goes on a trip, spring break, catches it, goes back to Europe or the US, and all hell breaks loose again. And that's the big unknown. So I think in certain ways, we'll be good for in the spring, it's always kind of pretty low risk because, it's not too hot. People aren't going to AC. It's not too cold. People go inside to share the heat. In the spring, it'll be good. But I think when summer comes and fall comes again, I don't know. I wouldn't bet money more than 50% odds that we have the optimal outcome. I think there is a really high chance that a really bad break. Again, Omicron emerged literally in 2-3 weeks and then went global, right?
It was crazy.
It could easily happen again with another strain.
Great. Again, as always, Eric giving us the high points of how we're all going to die as a species.
Hey, whoa. I didn't say that. I'm not being Leo DiCaprio with Don't Look Up. It's not a doomsday asteroid, okay? But it is one of the things that's going to give us ulcers, I think, for a couple of years more. And I think the vaccines are good, but the vaccines, we need adaptive vaccines.
Yeah.
We're still injecting people right now with the Wuhan 1.0 vaccine.
Right.
We're so beyond 1.0 right now.
Right.
Omicron is, again, 10x more contagious. We're in year 3, okay? And we're in year 3 and we're on Omicron.
God.
And there's fewer letters in the Greek alphabet until Omega than there has been from Alpha. And I think the Omicron is not going to be the last. Anyone who says Omicron is going to be the last variant of concern is just talking out of their ass. So we just have to be realist and prepare.
Right.
And
there you go.
Build a high seawall instead of always, boarding up the one mile from when the hurricane's going to hit, or the sandbagging whenever the river's already rising. That's what we got to do.
Is there any work behind the scenes going on for an adaptive vaccine?
Yeah, there are. The people are doing, like, for example,
we need some good news.
Moderna are doing their multivalent. They're like mixing several, like their alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and hopefully that between the 4 of them, if they're going to give you a combination vaccine, it might protect you better. There's Walter Reed has the ferritin nanoparticle, which, by the way, that vaccine, very promising. It's like a buckyball with like 24 sides and many different variations. But it's a horrible name. Every anti-vaxxer is going to say something about magnetic or nanoparticles.
yeah, nanoparticle.
Ferritin nanoparticle vaccine.
They're injecting Bill Gates directly into you at this point.
And then there's a few other vaccines, like with like really cheap vaccines. What we need is like cheap, because all these Pfizer Moderna vaccines are like $10, $20 a dose.
Wow.
You can't vaccinate the world with that kind of price. We need like $1 vaccines. And these $1 vaccines, you can easily produce them like huge volumes, even faster than you can produce insulin. And those are the kind of vaccines that's going to save the world. These $1 vaccines that we can quickly adapt, build a huge batch overnight and ship them out to the rest of the world in under a month. That's what we need, not this 6 month development, expensive $10, $20 vaccine.
Is that an mRNA? Is that they're because they're going to adjust it? They can go in and adjust it fast. I think we should.
But the mRNA is still a very expensive technology. It's really slow and requires these super below freezing vats and cold chain that we can't. We can't have that in Africa.
So you need something. We need something that you can go to a 7-Eleven and just put a cup under, fill it with vaccine and drink it. We need something like that. We need something where it's
something like super high volume, super easily injectable, or it's just something like a nasal thing. Mm-hmm. There's some nasal ones in development too. But I think at the end of the day, it's like cost and logistics of production. And mRNA is just so difficult to produce and ship around the world.
What about that pill?
$1 vaccines.
What about the pill? Will that have any effects on the next variant, or is that still just a reactive?
So the pills, by the way, monopiravir, it's like only 30% efficacy. I say efficacy for your audience, reduces it by 30%. So instead of 10 people going to the hospital, it's 7, right? Reduced by 30%. That's how we should explain to people.
Wow.
And by the way, the monopiravir could also cause cancer potentially.
Oh, shit.
Entirely sure yet. But
so glad we had you on.
I know, I'm sorry. I got to be the realist here.
Jesus.
You didn't ask me to come here to sugarcoat your
No, it did not. No. No, you're right. You're right. You are the Clint Eastwood. You are the Clint Eastwood of epidemiology.
We need a cigarette.
What kills more people? What kills more people is transmission. You balloon the number of people infected, that kills more people. So Paxlovid is kind of like the mild thing. Yeah, it will be like milder, right? But again, does that stop transmission? The pills don't stop transmission because they're given to you after you're already sick.
Right.
And the pills, pharma's going to price gouge the hell out of these pills. And how many people can be able to get them? We can't even get enough of these rapid tests to every American. And by the way, rapid tests shouldn't be $25 for a 2-pack. They should be free or should be $1. In Europe, you go to Europe, go any pharmacy. If you can either get them for free if you're a citizen, or you can buy them for $1. So I have boxes of these, like literally 50 of them, for literally $1 each.
Wow.
And you can't do that anywhere in the world. But in America, you can't do that anywhere in America. But in America, the people charge like $10, $20 for one of these rapid tests. If rapid tests, which should be less than $1 each, people are upcharging 20x, 10x. These drugs, pharma's going to price gouge them, and most people who need them, a lot of the minorities who are high risk, they're not going to be able to get them. And again, they don't stop transmission. So if it doesn't stop transmission, like ventilation does, then it's not going to bring the end. It's going to just, soften the blow to hospitals.
Let's talk about what you just said. It's interesting because we have models worldwide of healthcare that works. We have models worldwide in some of the best countries in the world that are democratic, capitalistic, and yet their healthcare system still works. And we pay 52% taxes in California, and their taxes are no fucking higher. So why can't we seem to get? Although California did actually just stepped up their game a little bit on healthcare. I just don't understand. It's all money. It's all money. We've become these. Look, I don't mind anybody making money. I like making money.
I always tell people in my other life, I'm a health economist. The thing with, for example, if you see a new iPhone, it's too expensive, $800, you're going to pass, right? I'm going to skip that and upgrade. But if your mom, your sister, your brother, your daughter has cancer, you would pay every single cent that you own to save his or her life.
Right.
Right?
We went through that.
That's the nature of healthcare. Healthcare is not a widget. It's not like a want. If supply and demand doesn't follow the same thing with healthcare, because you will literally pay everything you own to save someone's life. Yeah. And that's why pharma can price gouge you. It is the most price gougeable thing because healthcare is a need. It's not a want like an iPhone widget, right? And this is why this price gouging is literally out of control in the U.S. And the for-profit model for healthcare is a very perverse model. It's in certain ways, it's eugenics if you can't afford it. Because you can't afford that shit, well, guess what? You're going to die. Yeah. You can't afford that cholesterol medication. You can't afford that high, expensive heart attack drug, stroke drug, cancer drug, hepatitis drug, which some of the hepatitis drugs is over $100,000 for a course.
Wow.
If you can't afford it, tough shit. That's, it's kind of like, you ever watch the movie Elysium, right? You have the super rich people and you have the super poor people. And the super rich get everything that they need and they want, but the poor can never afford it. And of course, they have huge mortality. That's the world that we're kind of entering if we have keep up this for-profit healthcare model. Because healthcare is a want, it's a need. Healthcare is a need, not a want. And you would literally bankrupt yourself to save your family member. And in certain ways, that's the ultimate price gouging, the most callous price gouging.
People do all the time. And the funny thing is we can't seem to get, Citizens United just killed this entire country, man, when it came to that. Because once you let the people with the money pay our politicians with their money as much as to do what they want, it's over. I knew it was over. The day I called her, we were driving, and when the thing came down on Citizens United, and I called her, I'm like, it's over. It's over. I go, the next 20 years are going to be a fucking nightmare. And it's true, man. Everybody is just... I just don't understand it. How much money is enough? And Rachel's mom, who had pancreatic and passed, and we went through for 3 years. Ray took care of her, exactly what you're talking about. Like, how much, what? And like her husband just, thank God they had good insurance. Yeah. Thank God they had good insurance. But you shouldn't have to say that. Thank God I had good insurance.
But your point bringing her up.
And I always tell people, tell my conservative friends, hey, you know what? You guys always talk about freedom and liberty. But what if you have a job and you depend on that job for insurance, but your child has cancer or diabetes, right? And it's really expensive without insurance. If you had universal health care, your insurance wouldn't be dependent on your job.
Right.
And you would give you the freedom to quit your job if you have an asshole boss.
Right.
You have the freedom to quit your job if your boss is sexually harassing or physically harassing or abusive. You can quit your job and start a company as an entrepreneur without risking the life of your child or family member with cancer or diabetes. It would give you freedom, right?
Yeah,
and I think, yes, you pay a little more taxes perhaps, but you know what? You get the freedom to say, whatever, I'm out. I want to do my own thing. I don't want to be abused, and I still want to protect my family member with this chronic disease. I think that kind of freedom, if we sell it to the everyday American people, that is the ultimate kind of freedom that they really want, and what will save more lives and save more money. I think that's the message to get to people and try to convince them this is the better way.
Well, let me ask you about economically. It's actually costing us more per capita to run the system the way we're doing it.
Yep.
The only people that are making money are it's costing us, like you said, healthcare, because people are stressed all the time now because if someone gets sick, they're done. They can't leave a shitty job. They can't, like everything you just said, doesn't that end up costing us all more in the end anyway?
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're a family member, you have to take care of your family member, you're not as productive at work. Right. And then you can't concentrate at work, or you can't work as well. And, I think also, of a cook, say a cook who needs this hourly job to protect his family. And the thing is, he just needs back surgery, but he can't afford back surgery. And if he can't afford back surgery, the restaurant does worse because he can't afford the back surgery and because he can't work well. And I think, again, this takes long horizon, like foresight. And we don't have the foresight. We just care about, again, our quarterly earnings, our monthly profits. And that's all we care about, without the actual see that we can actually save more lives. And this saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I've always been advocating prevention, and it costs way more than all these pharmaceutical Paxlovid and all these other drugs. But people don't want to invest in prevention because in certain ways, look, if I install a crosswalk, if 10 people get run over by a car at this busy LA intersection, right? If I install a crosswalk or a sky bridge over it and I save 10 lives, no one thanks me because I don't want to be thanked, but no one is grateful for taxpayers to paying for that crosswalk or that bridge that saved the lives. And people don't have the foresight to see actually that this saved more lives. This could be the better way. And I think that's our short-sightedness in our society.
It's if we change it to, maybe we can get the Republicans, if we go a penny of prevention is worth $10 of cure. I mean, we can put it in financial terms, because what I also don't get is, like, it also holds us back from becoming a world leader in new technologies, because these people have to stay locked into a job. They can't, like you said, go off and come up with this idea that's in their head that they want to invest in. It locks people down to things. And I think that's, when you look at America, that's the point. If we had free healthcare, they couldn't control us as well as they do. Not to be conspiracy theory guy, but I love George Carlin, and there's a point where he goes, if you can keep us sick enough where we can't afford to leave what we have to do, then we can't become better. We can't become more productive. And the thing is, it's such a fucking bankrupt system. If you just, I always tell people when they were talking about the coronavirus, and I do a big long bit in my new show about it. Okay, let's map out the whole Bill Gates thing, and I walk them down this ridiculous thing that there's a satellite connected to the chip in your head that's connected to the computer at Microsoft Central Computer, where Bill Gates and his baby blood drinking pedophile elites are now tracking you while you do what? Take your kids to school? But the reality is, with this healthcare thing, there will be a day where it's just overwhelms the entire system and we're all fucked. It's going to, because eventually all the money will be paid to those people, and it'll just be poor people dying. And
this is what I wake up to every morning.
I'm sorry.
Speeches like this.
But you just map it out. You got to map it out.
I get you. Like, for example, like I see it with diabetes, because before COVID, I did a lot of diabetes epidemiology. The cost of diabetes medicines shouldn't be $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Right.
It shouldn't be $300 per vial, right?
Ugh.
Diabetes, it was, the insulin was invented 100 years ago, and the patent was sold for $1 to keep it free. It shouldn't be that expensive.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. It was invented by Banting in University of Toronto. It was patented there and sold for $1 to keep it free. But but the pharma companies, they keep repackaging it, tweaking it, and getting a new patent. They keep patent.
Right.
What's the term?
Patent raping. Let's just patent raping. Let's call it patent raping, just so we can put it in some sort of term that makes everyone go, "What? Who got what?"
It's horrible. It's despicable. And of course they try to keep out the Canadian. Oh, but you can't trust a Canadian drug because it's made in this far-flung, scary country called Canada. Oh, you can't import these drugs from Europe because Europe, it's full of sketchy stuff. Well, even while most of these drugs, they're paying half to 10 times less than what we pay here in the U.S. It's atrocious. It's just like we're basically walled off in this protectionist bubble, and we can't get it from overseas. and everyone else is paying super cheap prices. You know, a $1 COVID test. Meanwhile, here, $10 to $15 COVID tests. It's just ludicrous. But we have all these basically, you know, pharma and other various protection barriers to keep the prices high, and we're just worse off for it.
I thought we were based in freedom. Aren't we based in? I thought it was all about freedom here. No, doesn't seem so. Wow. And it's wow. So I now thanks, man, again for sucking out every ounce of hope that I have ever had.
You had no hope.
I am kidding, man.
I'm trying to inspire people to open their eyes that, you know, that we are literally being price gouged and price raped here in the U.S.
to death.
If only they knew what's on the other side of the border, right?
Right.
If only they knew how cheap COVID tests are anywhere else, then they would not stand for it. But unfortunately, Americans are very insular. A lot of Americans don't watch the world news. They don't know what's going on elsewhere, and they don't have the power to change it because our politicians are very much in the pockets of lobbyists, which are, can we just say, it's legalized corruption.
Yes,
right?
yeah, yes.
It's legalized, you know, basically there's no other country in the world that allows this kind of stuff in the Western world.
Right.
And those politicians can trade the stocks of those pharmaceutical companies as well.
They know what's coming.
Oh, yeah, and the trading stocks. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The stock trading.
Yeah.
I don't even understand. Like, they get all this confidential information.
Right.
You know, and regularly they have SEC rules that, you know, you cannot trade on non-public info.
We'd go to jail.
Unless you're a politician.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we'd go to jail. We'd go to jail if we did it. I explained my daughter's 20 and we had lunch and she's in music and she's not thinking. That's the problem is we have to kind of get everybody to focus. The great thing about Europe is that, and in some of the other countries, is their youth is actually focused on this. Our youth is not focused on this. Our youth is focused on, and so I had to explain to my daughter, I said, and she's smart enough to get it. I go, all right, listen. So they know where the contracts are going, how much money they're going to spend on the next technology and infrastructure. And I go, and then they're allowed to buy stock. And before I could finish, she goes, wait. That's bullshit. They can just they know what's coming, and I said, "Yep," and we can't. Yep. We go to jail. And dude, here's the thing I want to thank you for. And this is what I love about you on Twitter. And follow you on Twitter. What is give us your Twitter?
Dr. Eric Ding.
Yeah, Dr.
ERICDING.
I will let you know this, people. It will always be truthful. It may rattle your cage sometimes where you're like, "What?"
He's also very funny. I highly recommend this follow, Dr. Eric Ding. Most important question of the day. And it could save a lot of lives. Who is your all-time favorite musician or band?
Oh man.
That stressed him out.
I feel like so many musicians have something in their background. If I say it, someone will want to cancel me.
Do you see how messed up this world is?
Dude, you are on the cancel list for so long now on both sides. You're fine. Who do you?
I love Aerosmith.
Hey, all right, okay.
You know, it's my all-time go-to. You know, when I'm a little angry, a little frustrated, a little down, turn on some Aerosmith.
There you go.
I was always really obsessed with Steven Tyler.
Steven Tyler's a genius.
I think he's really hot. I know. I'll get canceled for that.
And Keith Richards is mad now.
I'm like 5'11", 5'11 and a half, and he was at the Bloomingdales in Sherman Oaks walking by me, and he was so little. I was so disappointed.
Getting like 5 more scarves.
He had a lot of scars, and he had his bell button, but he was so little, and it just blew that up for me. I was very sad.
Here's what I want to say, man, and this is why I wanted you on. After following you, reading everything you do, then I would actually go look up. I would read all the articles you post. I would follow your threads. You know, on our podcast, we always say scream sanity, because I think that's what the Democrats are missing. You can't just calmly tell people, because no one's, through the din of everyone else screaming, no one's hearing it. You have to scream sanity and get it through. And that's why I'm glad Biden stepped up. I want to thank you for always screaming sanity, my brother. Keep it up.
Yeah.
You know, keep it up, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Eric Feigl-Ding, ladies and gentlemen.
Dr. Eric Feigl-Ding.
Dr. Eric Feigl. You earned that.
Tall doctor.
You earned that, man. My brother, we will have you on again. If it gets weird again, I'll call you again. But thank you for being on.
Thank
you
so
appreciate
much.
it, brother.
Thanks. I'll try to be your Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
Neighborhood. Give you a call.
See you, brother.
All right, thanks so much.
Bye,
bye, buddy.
Doctor.
All
All
right.
right, stay safe.
Well, that was Whew. I don't know what to...
Can we just have a minute, please?
Yeah, I think. Dude, it's why I follow him and why I'm afraid to pick up my phone in the morning.
Less
just
than
gonna go now.
50% chance on that herd immunity thing we were counting on after they announced that everyone was going to get it.
We're all looking forward to the end of Omicron. He goes, so here's the optimistic side. And for a second, I was like, yay. And he goes, but the reality of that is that's probably a 50% chance that happens. More likely... God.
We have to install new HVAC across the world.
Lights. I'm walking around. I'm going to get a helmet that just puts
UV
light on my face all the time.
He actually is
just a hat. Just a hat with a brim. Just
the
UV
Harvard-educated scientist You know,
right.
you have been called a doomsayer as well. Mm-hmm. And when you sit there and say that he's negative, I think we were both like, what? Are you kidding me?
The funny is because I come in with negative because the stuff I read he put on Twitter. That's the thing is I come in all the time going, you don't believe what I just read. And he always nails it. And what he'll do is
cares a lot. You can tell.
It's also what I learned from him kind of because when I started getting into Twitter and people started going after me at the beginning of this thing and Trump, I started posting like, oh, no, here's the facts. No, here's the fact. And that shuts people down. Yeah. And he does that. And it gives you studies from around the world. And next thing you know, you're like, holy shit. And I have such a weird dichotomy in following him because I know I'm going to hear bad news. And yet I know he's so consistent with how right he is that I'm like, okay, I gotta follow this guy.
So we didn't have time to really cover who he is because we wanted to let him speak.
Right.
But just that stuff, the Harvard stuff that I mentioned and all that, he also works on a lot of stuff. He's noted as the whistleblower and leader of a 2-year-long investigation into the drug safety and risk data of Vioxx, Celebrex, and Bextra. It drew FDA and national attention.
Did he say they cause cancer or something?
He said that about the Pfizer pill for COVID.
Right. That's right.
I know, it's all swirling together. He is a childhood survivor of cancer. He's been called a Facebook philanthropist. He founded a 6 million member online campaign for cancer prevention and was featured in Newsweek.
He wanted to do cancer research. He said he wanted to actually do a thing where they did GoFundMe for cancer research to get it done. He
was noted for that because he led the first ever direct-to-science online crowdfunding initiative. They raised over $500,000 with a median donation of $15 for medical research. He's been featured in the New York Times. In the aftermath of the Flint water crisis, he founded the first geosocial network and public alert system for drinking water toxic contamination. He established the Toxin Alert Drinking Water Database. He's a bunch of awards that he's received during the Ebola pandemic. He led a team to co-develop one of the first mobile contact tracing applications.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It goes on and
polio.
on and on.
Yeah,
He invented the light bulb.
Jonas Salk was like, this guy.
Highly and often published, which, as you know, in the doctorate world, that's what my sister, you're always trying to get published.
Yep.
He's been published in the New England Journal of Medicine, American Medical Association, The Lancet. He's highly cited. He was ranked as among the top 1% of all scientists worldwide and named among the 186 top cited scholars across Harvard University.
And you know what I loved about him? Dude.
Yeah.
I love this.
I just want people to get that.
What a badass we just had on.
And
in the puffy jacket. In the puffy wrap jacket.
In his closet.
And
it's not that. It's that who we're hearing about all the time is, Tommy Lauren type.
Yes.
Or
some pundit is
helmet head Hannity. Or what's his little
and how
fish stick
unaccomplished
face.
all of us are.
Oh, my
soft-handed
Tucker
Carlson, yeah.
We're hearing about those people more often than we're hearing about. I mean, this dude's credits fill 2 pages,
and they're actually changed the world credits.
Yeah.
That's what's cool about him is like he's making a difference, and that he came on our little podcast is stunning to me. I didn't. It's weird. People, I want you to be clear what he just said. So he said everyone's talking about Omicron's milder, and I get we all want to hear that. We all want to hear that it's like lotion now. It's fine. It's gonna moisturize. Omicron moisturizes where Delta killed. Well, when he said that Omicron, yes, it's milder than Delta, but it's the same strength as Wuhan, and Wuhan is what got everything started.
Yeah.
So it scares the shit out of me. And did he didn't really answer what I said. Is it could we get a worse variant? He did say that. He actually did. He said he was surprised we could get.
We could.
That's what he believes is the greater possibility of an outcome. That's what he was saying. The herd immunity was, he thought, less than 50%.
Also, the biggest scary thing was England was 90%. Had 90% of England had antibodies, and they still got the Omicron. That means this is just like the flu. That means it's going to change all the time. It seems like it's changing faster, though. Well, no, it's been almost 3 years now. That's what I kind of got clear on. Oh, it's not that they're just a little different, and this vaccine works on Omicron too. They're a lot different, and he said we need to come up with vaccines that can change like that, which. Oh man, it's just it almost feels like and by the way, as he was talking about Big Pharma is going to keep doing it to keep charging money. And
that might be the bigger problem that we face is our healthcare system.
Right.
Is even worse than COVID. Right.
It kills more people. They were saying that COVID's like 3 now. Heart disease is number 1. Oh, so that would be our healthcare system and how people eat and stuff.
Right.
So human beings themselves are worse than COVID.
Yeah.
I would say that.
By the way, this episode brought to you today by Liquid IV. There's really no segue with the way you guys are talking.
You want to talk about healthy? Liquid IV.
Yeah, I will say this, that Liquid IV is absolutely a game changer for me. It really is, and I don't say that lightly. Also, they just came out with a grape flavor, and I love grape. So here's what I've been doing.
Yeah, tell them that. Give them
it's a non-alcoholic. Everyone assumes I put vodka in it, but I didn't.
But you could.
When we were sick, when we had our breakthrough case that was nothing, I wanted to make sure that we stayed hydrated. Nothing, because we are vaccinated, boosted.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I would get those giant metal Starbucks cups. I still do. I had it last night and the day before. Pack it full of ice, make my grape Liquid IV, and then add a grape Waterloo sparkling water. Oh man, it's a Liquid IV spritzer.
I took a drink of it yesterday, and it was awesome. And if you wanted to vodka it,
would be really good. I also was doing the Tangerine immune support for us when we were sick, just to make sure that we were getting the extra stuff that we needed because we were sick. It makes such a difference in everything.
Sleep, headaches. I sleep better. If I get a headache, I do a Liquid IV and a bottle of water. I'm done. It goes away.
Love it for workouts too, hard workouts. I take it and put it on the Peloton.
It helps me get hydrated faster.
Contains 5 essential vitamins: B3, B5, B6, B12, and vitamin C. 3 times the electrolytes of regular sports drinks. Non-GMO, gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free. It'll make you won't know that the way that you've been feeling is because of dehydration until you try it. That's what I recommend. Just try one. And you'll be like, holy crap, wait a minute. So many of us are dehydrated, and dehydration often appears as hunger. That was one of the biggest things my coach, when I was training, would tell me. If you're I was always hungry because I was training so hard. I was like, fuck. Drink a glass of water. That's what he would tell me. Drink water first and then reevaluate. Anyway, Liquid IV, like I said, they have grape now. You can get it in bulk nationwide at Costco, or you can get 25% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code Titus at checkout. That's 25% off anything you order when you use promo code Titus at liquidiv.com. Experience better hydration today at liquidiv.com, promo code Titus. I actually,
it's one of my favorite products that are on the podcast. All right. So the Omicron variant is raging. I want to tell everybody that I canceled some gigs, and I apologize for doing that. But I had to.
You didn't cancel. You rescheduled.
I rescheduled. They're coming back. And we're going to be in Tacoma coming up at the end of the month, because it looks like the peak's going to happen and start to go down.
Tacoma is the 28th. Tacoma Comedy Club, 28th, 29th, 30th. You moved Traverse City, Muskegon, and Grand Rapids. Those are all moving to April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Because Muskegon was actually on the news last night as being like all the hospitals overrun. And Ray goes, yeah, that's where we were
Plural
going.
hospitals.
Hospitals are overrun, yeah.
They have
okay.
Yeah, and medical facilities. So
I just roasted Muskegon.
Yeah.
for no reason.
We love Muskegon.
Just for comedy. You know.
And right. And by the way, they let it be named Muskegon and kept it.
Of course, they have a sense of humor. Okay.
Are you sure?
Clearly.
How do you know? Oh my gosh, he even slammed him again.
And then we go for, since you're already burying him, let's go after Muskegon one more time. I don't understand again. Now, Eric has freaked me out a little bit because now I was hoping listen. I want to have optimism too, and I wanted this thing to be milder. But man, if it's not,
there's no silver lining at all.
Well, you know what though? The silver lining is wake the fuck up, people. I think that's a silver lining. Hey, wake up. He's not kidding.
I know, but we are 2 years into trying to say wake the fuck up, and they're in a coma.
They're not.
It's hibernating.
It's like I told him the new talking point I heard yesterday. It's a new thing every day, every week, whatever.
But do you know how stupid it is? Okay, if it started, let's go. Let's see if we can list them. It's a
No,
hoax.
there's
It's
way
a hoax.
too many.
It's not coming here.
Plandemic.
Plandemic. It's a plandemic. It's the Wuhan virus, the China flu. They did it for us.
Which he even just confirmed. We got it from Europe.
Spain is a Fiesta virus, is what it was. La Fiesta Fluenza is what she called it.
No, she didn't.
Gracie
did.
Gracie did. That's what Gracie called it.
Credit for what Gracie said.
And then we had it's going to go away like a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had 15 cases. 15 cases. It'll go away.
Go away by spring.
Go away by spring. You can inject disinfectant, and that'll get rid of it.
Powerful light.
Or powerful light. Hydroxychloroquine won't work.
You couldn't even go through all the fake cures that people have come up with. Ivermectin.
Oh, the new one. Oh, the new one this week. Drinking urine.
Yeah, God
drinking
bless.
your own urine. They said that you called it urine therapy. One of the QAnon guys said urine therapy. I'm sorry. At what point is this just a large practical joke on stupid people? At what point is like, hey, wait. I
can't
So they were drinking bleach. Okay, they did that for a minute. Then they were drinking horse dewormer. They were they used it to worm horses. Let's see if they'll drink their own piss.
Yeah, we're drinking baby's blood.
Yeah, baby's blood.
They like to drink a lot. There's a lot of drinking. A lot of weird.
And adrenochrome, which is not a thing. I don't think. Anyway, we have now. Every time I think we're just so stupid that it can't get any stupider, people start drinking their own piss. And piss drinkers, by the way, when you vote people in 2022 and 2024. Don't vote for the piss drinkers, and that would be the right wing right now.
That's
it's a shitty nickname too.
That would have been wasn't that a joke earlier that we did? What are you going to drink your own piss?
Yeah, I think we.
I got an idea.
Pat Oswalt, he did a thing a long time ago about a piss drinkers magazine. He was talking. It's a bit. I listened to the bit. It's very funny about how whatever you think your sexual kink is, trust me, you're nothing compared to magazines that are out every month.
Right.
And there's actually a piss drinkers magazine. And he did this whole bit about it. It was pretty funny. And then, so people, when this whole thing about
I like that
piss,
you're not at all surprised.
When
You're
this
like,
when this-
you looked at me like, oh.
Yeah, when whole thing.
Wait.
That look. You think that look is that's a cultivated look based on his fetishes.
There's ads with my face on the back cover.
That is so gross.
There's like a MILF one, COVID one.
There's way more gnarly stuff in the world that I don't want to know.
There's way more. That's what his point was. There's way more gnarly stuff than you. You think you're a freak? You're not even close.
Be single for 2 years, then you'll know where the line is.
You know that? Remember that you used to get the piece of mail with all the magazine subscriptions. You check the magazines you want. He gets the weird magazines.
Yeah, I make suggestions.
After finding out his wife was a lesbian, he got the freakiest magazines. Checkity check. I need something. I've been locked in my house for weak error.
I looked over there.
How often do you have Wyatt?
I have him every day.
Oh, you do?
So hence why I'm extra single.
That was my question.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. So she has him for like right after school, and then I pick him up at night.
He always stays with you overnight.
Yeah.
Oh, what a good
I like
dad.
to take him to
And
school.
you take him to school, right? How's it working out?
You
all
just
that
like
switching?
being with him, like a nice person.
Yeah, like a dad. Like,
I miss him, and I want to see him every second.
That's so weird.
Again, looking like you look.
Right.
Listen, kid, here's a pack of cigarettes. I'll see you on your 16th birthday. That's what I'm expecting.
You guys have never seen him, but he's very cute, very sweet, and
Thank you very much.
and not
you mean Wyatt?
Wyatt.
Oh.
Wyatt.
and oddly able to communicate with adults in a real way,
Oh.
level to level, eye to eye, where you don't feel like you're talking down to a kid, but he's like,
But that's because
hey, what's up?
But
You
he
know?
didn't do what a lot of parents do, is what I didn't do and my dad didn't do, which I always talk to my kid. I was never oogie boogie doogie boogie.
Right.
Never.
Yes, right.
Yeah, I never
Same.
talk. I always treat it. What are you doing? Stop.
Yep.
Talk
I've
to
always-
them normally. Yeah.
Yep.
Put them in a room with adults. Let them talk.
Yep.
Let them hear how people talk.
I know, but a lot of kids still do that. Okay, that weird, dumb, shy thing.
Because their mothers and fathers went with it.
Yeah.
They went with it.
He's and he's a very smart child. So
Yeah.
he got it quick.
Yeah.
I didn't just from the get go relate to him and talk to him like an adult.
What
but
was
he took
the helmet
took
on
to
the
it.
shirt that we gave him for Christmas?
Mandalorian.
It's a Mandalorian. Okay. There
Is
are
that a helmet
billboards.
for a Mandalorian, or is that a Mandalorian?
That's a Mandalorian. He's good. Well, yeah. It's,
Yeah, both.
The
He was
Mandalorian
the
is
helmet.
just a head.
I guess these are conversations. I start these conversations.
Wait, the
Ken, on
Mandalorian
the
is
road.
just a head then?
Ken, oh my God!
Then you
So
can't-
Ken,
We're cutting right here.
we're going to edit this out. I
Then
am
you can't
offended.
say that the shirt was a Mandalorian because it was just the helmet.
Yeah, but if you put the picture, if I
You
put
wouldn't
a picture,
say it was a Mandalorian. You would say it was the helmet
it was
for
the
a Mandalorian.
Mandalorian. No, he's in the helmet.
There's no
This is
body.
a who's on first for
It's fine.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, but if I get a T-shirt
It's
with a
cut
picture
off.
of Bruce Springsteen's
There's
head
no
on
ne-
it, I don't go.
Is that Bruce
Is
Springsteen's
that
head?
Bruce Springsteen? No, it's Bruce Springsteen's head. There's no body. You fucking idiot.
There's no neck.
Oh my God! The hell, he's looking
Oh,
down.
I see. So there's such a. I get it. So it's
It looks
such
like a piece of
disconnect
equipment.
That who know it's sci-fi. Who knows what it might be?
Thank
Gotcha.
you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Makes
Ken.
sense.
All right, we're assuming
Okay.
that it's because it's the Mandalorian helmet that
But
the
it's just a
Mandalorian's in
helmet.
it.
Oh, okay. If I feel like if
There's shoulders you can see.
no, there's
that-
not. It's just the head.
Yeah, there's shoulders in
Yeah,
it.
there's
Oh, there are?
shoulders in it.
Part
yeah.
of his body.
Well, the
is in
point
it.
being that Wyatt, you guys made a video and it was very funny of Wyatt
yeah.
shirtless
With the
because he
helmet
hadn't
on.
gotten the shirt yet and he had the helmet on and he had, was it a lightsaber? I don't know. Anyway, it was very, very funny, very
You
cute.
can't even talk about this
Yeah, I
anymore. You
can't.
have to
I got
stop
no idea.
talking.
I'm good with that.
And my dream is to get Mark Hamill like we had Eric on, and you can't talk.
I can't be here.
Yeah, you can be here, but you just have to be. Oh wait, or be even better.
No,
We
be
should
here.
let you talk.
It's hilarious.
We should let you ask Mark Hamill about Star Wars because he's always interviewed by people that know
Yeah, no
like
idea.
everything.
Yeah.
To have you do it, he'd probably enjoy it.
Start from
honestly.
ground zero.
No
So
idea.
Star Wars was a movie.
I know
In
that.
1975, George Lucas came up with the idea. By 77,
I've seen a few of them
oh,
when I was a child, but I thought they were the first three, but it turns out they weren't.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm out at
what's
that
the little
point.
green guy's name?
When I watch the three and they
The
were
first
in
three?
order, they went
Yeah.
the first one that ever came out, and then the second
Okay.
one that
New
ever
Hope?
came out, and then
Wait.
the third one that ever came out, and then you guys tell me, no, those are the fourth, fifth, and sixth one. I'm like, I'm out. That's ridiculous. You can't renumber
First of all, that's not how
retroactively.
how the conversation started.
that's-
However, I'll give you that.
Yeah, by the way, do we? Hey, wait a minute. Those are the fourth, fifth. By the way, those are the fourth, fifth, and sixth. Those aren't the 1, 2, and 3. Although they did come out of sequence. We called the other ones prequels. Also, the first
You
one.
called them prequels later.
Yes.
Retroact. You
Yeah,
can't do
that-
that. You
yeah.
can't go back and go.
No, that's what it means.
You know
prequel.
what?
No. Instead of sequel, which would be the follow-up, a prequel. These came after, but this is what happened before those 3 movies.
But
by the way,
sequel-
the first one was the most racist movie I've ever seen in my life. Wasn't it?
Sequel
Holy shit.
comes
The
from the
Shan
word
people were-
sequential.
Oof.
Sequential, which means comes after. And in history, if you look at the release dates of those movies,
It's in a
those
galaxy
were
far, far away.
Those were
First of
first.
all,
that is removed from us.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, the rules don't apply.
Here's the thing.
I love how frustrated
It's
you guys
imaginary. it does. We're so good. She just pisses off.
You guys get so
but-
mad.
I know, but why
It's
do,
all- yeah.
why do all? Why, it seems to be a
Oh,
female
there's people
thing.
right
A lo-
now banging their heads
Yeah,
off
yeah,
of
yeah.
stairs.
They're like,
It is not a
there's
female
a truck
thing.
driver right now going, God damn it!
Is the helmet a Mandalorian, or is the Mandalorian the helmet, or the?
It's not a female thing. That was sexist. A lot of women love Star Wars, and they're also banging their heads off of their...
No, not so much.
Oh my God, women, please write him hate mail about that. That is ridiculous. You're ridiculous.
Just in my experience.
Ask Ashley Cashman.
Well, Cashman.
She has her own lightsabers.
Cashman is.
Oh yeah, she used to bring them. She would bring them to Ontario, and after the shows, she wanted us to fight.
She in the cosplay? Is she looking into that?
No, but we would just have lightsaber fights, all of us.
She's into parenting now, so all the Star Wars shit has stopped.
But I bet her little girl will also be raised to love Star Wars. You sexist piece of crap.
No, I will own that regarding Ashley. But every woman I've known has been like this about Star Wars.
Do tell me your generalizations. Every woman. I don't
except for
count.
Except for Ashley.
You
do count as a woman. Yes, we all agree that you count as a woman.
Because she doesn't like movies at all, so it does discount you.
I hate movies. Quote.
And I'm extra snarky and sarcastic and like to annoy you, so I'm an outlier.
I know. Once you hear us both go, you're like, hold on, let me get. I'm gonna start
digging on this,
picking at it. There you go.
I really did think that was just a helmet shirt. I do see your point about if it were just a head of Springsteen, that would still be. I do get that, but Springsteen doesn't wear a uniform or a costume.
I would say that vest,
t-shirt,
he does not wear a
t-shirt, jeans,
costume.
vest.
And those guys wear a costume. They have on a helmet. So that's like you putting a knight's helmet or a knight inside of a helmet. Those are two different things.
But if you had a knight's helmet and then the shadow of his shoulders, you would assume there was a knight there,
if there were shoulders.
There is shoulders in this TV.
I didn't remember shoulders.
This is the worst. We've never been more meaningless on the podcast.
You know what we need
we've
right
really
now?
Been meaningless a lot.
Well, we just had such a heavy conversation. I felt like we needed to go the other way.
Valid point.
Feels. This episode brought to you by Feels. I don't want to hear any more about
Boba Fett.
No, that's not a thing. It's
all right. Go.
Which Wyatt did say to me, I got the shirt just in time for this thing, and I said, is that a TV show or a movie? I remember he was just like...
Same look we just had.
You're like, wait.
Yeah, he was baffled.
It's on buses and billboards and
he hasn't
40
encountered adults or human beings that don't know what it is.
Yeah, you haven't seen it?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
How dare you.
This episode brought to you by Feels, which we all could use a little of right now. Yeah. After that conversation and this conversation.
I'm going to take Feels watching the new Boba Fett thing and just nod a lot. Be like, all right, it's cool.
No. From a different room, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Feels is a better way to feel better, which we could all use now.
What is Feels?
It's premium CBD, keeps your head clear and helps you feel your best. It's been proven to greatly reduce anxiety, pain, sleeplessness, stress.
Sleeplessness,
It's amazing. All you do is you put a few drops under your tongue and... it's like within minutes, you'll feel a difference. You don't get high. You don't feel drugged. You don't feel weird. You just notice that those things that I just listed have ebbed.
So when I take it, I notice I have within about 30 minutes a sense of calm.
Yeah.
That is noticeable.
Yeah. So if you've never tried it before, a great thing about this company is they have a hotline. You can just call them and ask them questions. They're oddly not at all stressed when you talk to them. They're very calm and cool, and they're watching Boba Fett. There's no hangover. There's no addiction.
Best customer service ever.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Hey. It's all right.
Just put your helmet on. That's all right.
Wow, I didn't know what that means.
Join the Feels community to get Feels delivered to your door. You don't have to leave your house. You can save money on every order, and you can pause or cancel it anytime. You just go online and do that. Very easy website to navigate. Become a member. Get 50% off your first order. Start feeling better with Feels. All you have to do, become a member today by going to feels.com/Titus, and you'll get 50% off your first order and free shipping. That's feals.com/Titus to become a member and get 50% automatically taken off your first order with free shipping.
I'm curious as to when you take it.
I take it at night.
Right before I go to sleep.
Okay.
feals.com/Titus.
When I get in bed, we usually watch TV for a minute, and so I take it, and then I notice about a half hour in, I'm just like... And it's funny because you don't. It's not like it just rushes at you. You just like, oh, I just
eases in.
Just chill. Mm-hmm. No, I'm just chill. And not high, just chill.
I did watch a movie. I've watched 2 movies with you this week. But we were going to just watch the beginning to see, because I love Jessica Chastain and I wanted to see her as Tammy Faye Baker. having grown up in the South, surrounded by a lot of family that is Southern Baptist and charismatic and
Evangelicals.
Evangelical,
Screamed at people holding a Bible.
Yeah, I got sucked in immediately. So did you. We ended up watching the whole movie, and wow, what a stunning, mind-blowing performance by her as Tammy Faye. There is a point once she becomes the older Tammy Faye where you cannot tell that it's her.
It's Tammy Faye Baker, dude. It was being an actor myself, both of us being actors and going through acting training, watching it was, first of all, what I really understood about Tammy Faye Baker is that Tammy Faye Baker was a sweetheart who got sucked into this world, and Jim Baker was a dick.
Yeah.
Dick.
That's how they portrayed her, yeah.
Well, I mean, she was never, if you look at it, she was never evil.
Interestingly, she, from the get-go, in that climate with Jerry Falwell Sr.,
badass woman,
and Pat Robertson.
alpha chick.
She was an alpha chick. She was really the driving force behind, was it CBN, Christian Broadcasting? Yep. No, that's not right.
PTO.
PTO.
No.
Yeah.
No. Was it PTO?
Say, what was it?
Whatever they were, whatever Jim and Tammy Baker's thing was.
They started
QVC.
their own net. It was basically kind of, it was like it became a 24-hour a day.
They had an amusement park.
They had it, but
No.
she
Dude, I went to it. Yes.
PTL.
What? Yes.
Yeah, PTL.
We the PTL club. We went to.
You slide down something like this. Like,
yeah, you have to. Yeah, really wide, really wide water slide, really wide.
The white water raft is all blessed.
Yeah, that's the weird part is that when you went down a water slide, the water was just on the sides, and you would just squeak down the.
Oh yeah.
It was always split. It was always.
Well,
you're baptized on the way down.
she from the get-go supported LGBTQ rights.
Wow.
And had a guy that had AIDS on the show who's still alive. And her whole stance was God loves you and I love you too. And she
very progressive.
I thought, and this was in the early 80s?
No, Jesus said that too.
Yeah.
Oh no,
it's not real progressive. Actually, 2,000 years ago.
It's actually Old Testament.
It's actually for real.
Old school.
Everyone else is bastardized it, but yeah.
Which is what she tried to say to Falwell and Pat Robertson, and people were like, "What?"
They pissed her off.
But
she
man,
pissed them off.
Did I have some like visceral reactions to some of the stuff in the movie? Like, I maybe should go get therapy or something.
That's a definite.
Shut up. For my relationship with you was the end of that sentence.
That's why you talk about it and we just do it.
After our argument, our little bitchy fight we had in front of him for 10 straight minutes last week. No, you did.
We love you that we let you just witness
That's what I said. I was just like, oh, I feel like family now.
Yeah, you were.
Well, he said later, I talked to him on the phone later, and what did you say? I just appreciate you guys letting me witness a normal, healthy argument.
What a healthy fight.
Yeah,
what a healthy relationship looks like.
And we listened to it and it sounded great.
No, you don't. You this. No, you did.
Let's get back to funny.
Okay.
And that was it.
That's how we do it at home too. It's very like, it's like that, like, meh.
And all it did was just keep restarting, like four times over and over
again. And every time it restarts, I say the same thing.
Well, that's not what I meant. But that's not what I meant.
And then I go, we're not doing this again. And then I go right back into doing it again. Because that's how we do it.
My argument, I was just being funny. I wasn't no, you were mad. No, I wasn't mad.
No,
yes,
I know when you're mad.
Yes,
which you say to me too. Oh, I've known you. This is what you say. I've known you for 16 years almost. I know you. You're going to try and tell me I don't know when you're mad. That's what you say to me.
You're telling me I don't know you after I know you, but you know you better than
even though you're telling me that you live in you,
but I know you. I've been near you while you live in you. Yeah, that's
exactly.
So it was a dumb argument.
We're really, it's not exciting at all.
It is. Wow, why would you even say
that?
No,
our arguments. They're not. Yeah, no, it's not salacious. It's not. See how he almost got mad about that? Do you see that?
I wasn't mad.
Yeah. Are you trying to tell me that I don't know when you're mad? I saw it. He saw it. I'm building an agreement.
I know when you're mad, you were mad.
Yeah, he knows.
I'm pretty good.
I just mean our arguments, for the most part, you couldn't sell and make any money off of.
No, they're not fiery. We've had a few, and
in our time,
they've never worked out well. So I've stopped doing that. So I'm always cleaning up glass and you just go your arms crossed, looking at me like, happy now? Yeah, I don't feel good like that. I'm wrong still. still. God damn it. Yeah. What else do we want to talk about?
So you guys, I highly recommend if you want to see some brilliant acting. What I was saying was I need therapy for the way that I felt with the Pat Robertson, the Jim Baker, the things that they said and the way that they said them in their preaching and the condemnation and the judgment and stuff was something I grew up surrounded by and is still perpetrated by several members of my family against me as well as you, as well as my sister.
And this podcast specifically.
All of it. And I just, it made me like, I would get mad, watching. And that's something that I really loved about Tammy Faye was how she just kept saying no.
Not only that, but she did it in the face of, because they knew Oral Roberts and all these other dudes and Jerry Falwell, and in the face of them going, we're fighting against homosexuality, we're making it illegal. And so then she basically calls a homosexual preacher on and interviews him on television about AIDS on their show.
Yeah.
Right? So she was like, oh, really? You don't like gay people? Watch the show tomorrow.
Yeah. She wanted to talk about real life things from a faith perspective, because instead of being like them pretending that real life isn't happening and everything is fake and weird and you're supposed to be afraid of
their way
the
backfires.
demon.
If they were more open and loving.
It repels people. Right. And so she wanted to talk about life, and so they had 24-hour programming, and so she did a segment on penis pumps and she had on a board where the thing blew up.
How did we miss all this?
I know, right?
I thought that when I go, is this what they did? Because I was so I thought they were just shitty evangelists, and I go, is this what she did? Because I think the reason they did the movie, I just got this. I think the reason they did the movie is because she wasn't what people thought she was, and I watched it thinking, wow, she was actually pretty cool when it came to the one thing I hate about organized religion, especially televangelicals or televangelists. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Is that it's all against the Bible half the time.
It's completely bastardized.
It's not. This is not about accept everybody, love everybody, love your neighbor, take care of them. It's like fuck them, don't vote for. And it's become political. And she was a true Christian. Wouldn't you say that? Mm-hmm. I would say she was true Christian. Okay, the other movie that we saw this week that I really enjoyed.
Oh yeah.
And people, if you want a fun movie that will kind of break your heart, it's funny. It's called Long Story Short. I think it's from Australia. Yeah. It is great. What a great movie.
It was really interesting. It was on Netflix, I think.
About a guy who
Don't give it away.
I won't give it away. Anyway, long story short, watch it. It is joyous and fun, and I like a movie that has a point to it. It was great.
Which makes me think of something else that I definitely think we would be remiss if we didn't mention that Bob Saget was found dead in his hotel room in Orlando, Florida this week after having, as he said, one of the best shows of his life.
Yeah, his last
two best shows back to back.
His last Instagram post was, I just had the great show. I'm doing comedy like I'm 26 again. It's the best night. I love this shit again. And then
I'm going to film this special and then I'll be back. I'll be back long after that because I love this shit. I'm happily addicted or whatever.
So just keep bombing and you're good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I'm fine. I'm going to be 95.
No, you won't. But it did bring up, it's something that we all think about, being on the road, being in a hotel room, that's the part that sucks. I love that he had those shows because as a comic, we know the feeling he went to sleep with. We know the high that he had.
Making me sad because I'm getting really sad right now.
And then that he died alone in a hotel room, albeit a Ritz-Carlton, is really
still not good. Still, you didn't mean it wasn't a Fairfield Inn. I will say that
it wasn't a Motel 6.
I will die in a Fairfield.
No, you won't. You will not stay in a Fairfield Inn. I love that
it'll be a Kimpton or a
You're
Starwood.
like Trump. You try and pretend that you're a man of the people.
I am a man of the people.
While you're swirling
I'm still
your
bleeding
snifter.
from working on my hot rod yesterday.
Working on my hot rod that I also own.
You guys are assholes.
I'm bleeding. I messed up my manicure.
You're right. I am not a man of the people.
My buff is no longer shiny.
Here's what bothers me the most of it is that I don't know. It's so funny because whenever I get shit online about you're an elite or you're famous, you're a famous comedian, blah blah, and which is so funny because there's so many more famous people and barely famous people. I'm this guy. oh yeah, that guy. That's after you explain who I am to people, they go, oh yeah. So unless you're a fan, here's what you do as a comic, people, and here's why it made me. I actually burst into tears. I didn't know Bob. I met Bob once or twice. We talked backstage at Springsteen once. Hung out.
Yes, backstage at Springsteen.
It was very.
Yes,
man of the people. Springsteen's a man of the people, right? So
he just sold his catalog for $500 million.
Shut up! Quit making this bad. Why would you? So here's what you do as a comic, and just so you guys know when you come to the shows. First of all, we appreciate it, and it's a blessing to have a job. Ray and I will get on a plane a lot of times at 5:45 a.m. in the morning, and that means the plane leaves or boards at 5:45, which means we were up at 3 to get to the airport by 4:15, and then to get on a plane. Then we fly all day. We should
mention that when you're about to fly for a gig, because you have to be there, it's not a vacation flight. You can't sleep the night before.
Yeah, you can. You're getting ready. You've got all your.
So we
luggage
went to sleep at 1.
And it's not just throwing stuff in a bag. You got to figure out. I got my microphone. I mean, there is a process we go through just to get ready, and then after that. You get off the plane, and it's 3:00 in the afternoon. You got a show in 3 hours or 4 hours. So you have to get to the hotel, which takes an hour.
Rent a car,
hotel.
Morning radio.
So hour and a half. Well, not even there yet. So then you do the show that first night. That first night is a Thursday sometimes, and it's a little bit janky. I have to show up, not after work, traveling all day, getting up at 5. Then I don't have any time to catch a nap because I have to to do my microphone. I have to set my microphone up because I wear a lav. My fault. That's an addition I do, but I do it because there's a connection to the audience at it, blah, blah, blah. Whatever the reason I do a lav, I do a lav.
Yeah.
Then we do a show that night. Then we're amped from we're tired from the travel day, but we're amped from the show, so we can't go to sleep. Friday morning, I have to get up at 5 or 6 o'clock, maybe 7 at the latest. Yeah. And then they drive me to radio. Some days I do 4 radio stations.
Or TV, which means you have to get dressed and do
your
hair.
Yeah, I can't just put a hoodie on and go total Eminem style.
Then you come back, you try and sleep, but you had coffee to get through radio.
I had coffee to be funny on radio because now I have to go to my job at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. when my show isn't until 7 or 8 o'clock. So I have to be as funny at 7 a.m. as I would be after having sleep. So then I'm like up till noon or 11, depending on how much radio I do. And this is before COVID, by the way. Then I go back and by the way, I'm not bitching. I love my job. I love it with all my heart. But to make the job happen, it's not just Titus just show rolls in, does his jokes, and walks out.
Then it's Friday, 2 shows. And the second show is Friday late, and it starts at 10 or 10:30.
Right. People are tired and drunk.
It goes till midnight or later.
Yep. Right.
It is a whirlwind.
To do that 1 hour, to have a 1 hour show, it's 18 hours of work
at least
to get that 1 hour in.
Yeah. And that doesn't count writing the show, working on the show, doing it. So then we sleep, usually sleep late on Saturday, which is fine. Then I do 2 shows Saturday. Then we meet people after the show. That's for usually another hour. So now we're not home every night till 2. Then after the Saturday second show, if we don't have a Sunday show, we are up after getting home at 2, we're up again at 4 to catch a plane to come home to LA. So so Saget was on the road doing all of this, and he's Bob Saget, which means he probably had more radio than I did because everybody wanted to talk to him. So he has this killer show. He was on a run, and he has a killer show after all this work.
New special he's working on, and then he died in his sleep and in a hotel room in a place where he didn't live, away from his wife. And he just married in 2018.
Yeah, and I'm lucky enough to be with my wife, so I'll die next to you. So you'll wake up next to me, dead.
Do we know the cause of death?
They did an autopsy there in Florida, and they just released today that they don't know yet that no drugs.
No drugs, nothing. Heart attack, right?
They're not sure yet. Nothing in his system that they can link it to.
Back to your schedule, I would love it if you were to just put a camera on you sleeping for the next radio show, or just put it on and be like, we're going to Titus.
So when I die.
Yeah.
So when I die, we have it. You have it. So you have the final episode of the podcast.
Like my fall. During my fall, when I almost broke my arm. So my first thing I said on camera, you can hear. We got that on camera, right?
Can I say about Bob Saget though? So in show business, everybody has a bad story about everybody. Mm-hmm. Say I don't care whether you're an actor, a singer, a comic. Everybody has a story. You'll run into somebody who goes, "That guy's an asshole." the one thing you can say about Bob Saget, nobody, and I've been doing comedy. When I started comedy, he had just gotten, I was a year in, I was still doing open mics when he got Full House.
Yeah.
So he's been doing comedy way longer than I have, and I'm 23, it'll be 40 years since I started comedy. Bob Saget, there is not one person, I've worked with Dave Coulier, we've met John Stamos, his closest friends, and nobody, Richard Mark, nobody has a bad story about Bob. Nobody. He always said he loved me. He texted me when my mom got sick. And to have a guy that good go, especially in comedy where there's just a lot of miscreants and rebels and psychos and dickheads, to have a guy who's universally known as the best guy. It's really sad to lose Bob Saget. It's really sad.
Do you miss Bob Saget, buddy?
Yeah,
Poochie popped up. We talking about Bob Saget? Because I got to tell you,
Do you want to say some word? Dedication to Bob Saget.
They said he never missed an opportunity to tell guys and girls, his friends, that he loved them, his kids, and he was always trying to help other people, always, doing some sort of kindness for people.
So if you were a fan of Bob Saget, go to the Scleroderma Foundation. It was something that he was very committed to curing, and if you can make a donation, that would be awesome. And again, we lost a good one. It seems worse, when we lose comedians, and maybe that's just because it's what we do, but it just feels worse because. Well, that's what I wanted to say to comics is that we like to all you guys that do what I just described, and I think girls who are doing their own podcast, not listening to ours. Just know people when that comic's on stage for that hour, and you think he only works an hour a night. Understand the slog it is to get there. It ain't coal mining.
That's the freedom part. That's the moment where it's just coasting, but it's all that other stuff that is just gnarly. Well, that's missed flights, lost luggage.
Every week we panic.
That's crazy.
That's the great quote is that I don't do comedy. That hour on stage is free. I get paid to travel here. Yeah. I get paid to stay in the shitty hotel that 40,000 other people have slept in. Yeah. I get paid to go. It's not my color hair in the sink.
Or my blood.
That happened.
This episode also brought to you by Truff. Maybe it was Truff. Need we say more? You guys know that this is something that we're all obsessed with, and I challenge you to try it on French fries and tell me that it's not the greatest thing that you've ever put on French fries.
I gotta try that
for
Christmas. I got a travel pack of 4 small bottles of Truff.
I'm making sure he can travel with it because on the road he always says everything he eats. You know what this needs? This would be a lot better if we had Truff.
Right.
So,
speaking of making travel better,
the other night we had dinner, and to my lovely wife is a great cook, and she, what did you give me? You made something that was awesome, and I was like,
you put Truff on everything.
But I grabbed it. I was like,
that scared me.
I was a little upset that you didn't put. I go, how come you didn't give me?
Yeah,
Truff?
offended. It has become a thing that if I make him
what
something,
I like.
Yeah, exactly.
I hand him a plate and Truff in the other hand. Like, here's this and this.
Bring me my Truff, woman.
They came out with you can buy a box of the black truffle packets, and so I got him those to put in his suitcase. And then they came out with the white truffle, which is my favorite hot sauce, in little small bottles. It's 4 of them, and so he has those as well. So he's set. They also came out with a white truffle truff that's hotter. So they had the original hotter.
I tell you,
now they've got white truffle hotter.
The normal one makes my sinuses open up. The hotter that says hotter on the bottle, that one's like, all right. I'm like, let's do this. Like I have to. It's almost like I'm going and getting into a fight.
It's like an energy drink.
When you got to amp yourself up for something, I'm like, all right, let's do this.
Smelling
salts. They have hot sauces that we just talked about, pasta sauces, which are the awesome shite. Mayo. They have a regular truffle mayo, and then the hot one, that one is stupid. Yeah. That is also good on fries. And they have truffle oil, which is excellent. Buy Costco ravioli in whatever flavor and toss it in their truffle oil. Crushed red pepper, grind some salt and
pepper. Do you know where we've been lucky on this podcast? We've got advertisers between Truff, Truff, and the other company that does a lot of products is Harry's. We really have great We have really great
Liquid
advertisers.
IV.
Liquid IV.
This is stuff that we all. I mean, we use.
But I like when a company
religiously.
expands and they keep the quality. They don't. The
doesn't
the
doesn't
quality
water it
stayed
down.
real
Yeah.
consistent across
Yeah.
all the lines of products. I
Yeah,
like it.
they really did. When that mayo first came out, we were like, holy.
I always said, you remember that? Remember when you were a little kid and you would sit on this? Mom would bring you a sandwich that she made on a summer day, and it was just the perfect sandwich with the right amount of lettuce and tomato. That's when I put that mayo on the truff sandwich. I was like, holy crap! I just flashed back to being a kid. That's
My
how good it was.
brother-in-law, I made him one of those sandwiches, and he said that this is the best sandwich I've ever had. What is that?
Did you guys load up for Christmas on truff?
Oh, I gave him two.
I forgot to get. I should
I
have done
gave
that.
him 2 boxes.
Yeah, truff.
Yeah,
has
of
got so
course I
popular.
loaded him up.
They didn't send us free stuff. We had to buy our own.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I loaded him up in
Yeah.
his stocking and stuff.
He's offended that he did not get loaded up.
I know. I was just thinking, we
Did you
should
hear the
have
tone?
given
Did you hear
him
the tone?
truff.
Oh, did you guys get truff for Christmas? That's great.
at all. No.
Glad you got truff for Christmas. Hope you enjoyed your truff Christmas.
How was your truff on Christmas?
It was really good.
You know what I had? Dry, not made by a lesbian turkey that I made.
Butter basted in Corningware. So you can get 15% off site wide, Ken Highlander, and
I'll be right back.
free shipping with promo code Titus at truff.com. That's 15% off everything at Truff, TRUFF, as in fire.com, promo code Titus.
People try truff. I'm not kidding.
It's all, everything is infused with 100% real black winter truffle, so
Good.
it's not fake. You know, sometimes you get truffle stuff and it's like that synthetic weird
yeah, truffle flavoring.
made made up stuff, artificial. That's
Yeah.
the word I was looking for. This does not have that flavor at all. It's excellent.
Here's what it does. Everything I put it on elevates whatever it is, right? Don't you
Yeah,
agree?
100%.
Like anything you put
Yeah.
it on. We had
and
those
you
steak-
can put it on anything. Just
Yeah.
about.
I know
He
what it was.
does.
She made the steaks from Butcher Box at the cabin, and she didn't give me truff. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Because I did the butter basting
Yeah, but I got
situation.
both. I just did.
Yeah, he was
You put it
offended.
on
I
it?
drizzled wet, and it was
He
like,
puts it in soup. I'm not
Yes.
kidding. He put it on
Good.
sushi.
Ding. Yes.
no, yeah, because it's or wasabi.
Oh, wait. Oh, okay. We had a New Year's Eve get together. It was 6 people,
Yeah.
and everyone is vaxxed and boosted and tested right before and sent each other our tests. I ordered a tray of Chick-fil-A nuggets because I hadn't been able to go anywhere for 2 weeks, and I wanted this. So everybody, as soon
That's
as
a
I
party.
took them out of the oven, everyone was just standing around eating them, and
Yeah.
you brought out truff. Well, I had bought the Chick-fil-A sauce, the dipping sauce, and Jen took the truff and mixed it with the Chick-fil-A sauce.
I was like, you're a genius.
It was stupid.
Mind blown.
Everyone, when we all tried it, we were all like, looked at each other like.
Yeah, exactly. Don't
is
tell
this?
anybody of this.
So
We will
it
not tell them.
does elevate, like you said. It
Yeah.
took that sauce that we all loved, and now it tastes plain without it. And it was, everybody had a mind blow experience.
Yep. So, guys, thanks for listening today and watching us on YouTube. Please subscribe or sign up or send a letter in or telegraph us at
He said
Combustion Films.
before our Zoom meeting with Dr. Ding,
Oh, my God.
he said, hey, Ken, can you go ahead and get him on the line? I said, no, he's got to click the link.
You got to call Sarah.
I'm gonna
Sarah's got
call
to
him up.
connect us. Click, 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 click. Hello,
may I help you?
Is Eric Feigl-Ding
Wait, no, it's
here?
this.
Operator.
It's this, right? Is that how they do it?
Eric Feigl-Ding on Zoom. Hello.
Oh, Titus, we love you.
I like talking old time.
It's funny. Yeah, totally.
23 Skidoo. Thank you to Dr. Ding. He was awesome.
Dr.
He was
Ding was crazy and great. And again, you know what I'm so glad? The way he comes across on Twitter is exactly how he came across. That's what I expected.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't dentist it. He was like,
Yep.
"Here's how it's going."
I like a doctor who does this.
Yeah.
A lot of this.
He screams sanity, like we
Yeah.
talk about on the podcast. You like, guys, you're
Yep.
morons. And people would, like, I would follow him. I would look at the comments, and people would get mad at him. You know, man, you're all negative. No, yeah, how negative? 800,000
Yeah.
are dead. I'm sorry.
It's bad news.
Sorry, the tone is a little off for you. So thanks, guys. We're going to be in Tacoma on the
28th, January 28th through the 30th.
28th through the 30th.
Tacoma Comedy Club.
Tacoma Comedy Club, all new show. Zero side effects. We're still killing it. I think we're going to be taping that pretty quick. April. There's something coming up. I'll be announcing. I might. There might be some gigs being canceled in May. In the beginning of June, due to something big that might be happening. I'm not going to talk about it till the contract is signed. But I did want to say thank you guys again, and you guys. I love sitting here talking with you guys. We need to do this more, don't you think? The guest thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's great.
We'll see how this edited together, and I'm excited about it.
I don't want COVID to continue.
No, God, I don't want to talk to any more doctors, for God's sakes, but because I'm tired of hearing. The next one we want doctor we have on is like, nah, we're good. That's what I want.
Yeah, right.
It's weird to hear him say.
If Eric says we're good, we're good.
It's weird to hear him say we're in the third year of this. It's like,
yeah, it stunned me too. I went, oh, right.
We were so naive in the beginning when we were like, if we just get through this one type of COVID-19,
once we get the vaccine,
it'll all go
which
away.
It could have.
And variant, what's a variant?
That's what bothered me is when he said that the vaccine. I'm like, well, the mRNA vaccine. He's like, it's so hard to make. We need to make a lot of vaccine quick,
cheaply.
And I was like, so we need like VATS vaccine. It just makes me sad. A nasal ones, I like the idea of nasal one.
I do too. Yeah.
I would love that, man. That would be awesome.
And they're recommending Pfizer every 5 months now. So that's, I don't know about
when is our next thing?
We would be due in April, I think.
We're going to be 2 months.
We're going to be there. But here's the thing. We may know at that point that whatever the new variant is, that vaccine doesn't work anyway. So
Did you hear, that was when he said that they have looked at the science, and the people that had the Wuhan strain or the Delta strain or any of the other strains
have no immunity.
No immunity to Omicron. None. He said none. Zero. I was like, what? Meanwhile, I have several family members who are living on that prayer and saying, I'm immune to all the future variants because I had it. I have a couple family members. I don't even need to wear a mask.
Thing where he slammed Rand Paul.
Yeah.
This fucking idiot Rand Paul. It just kind of got in there really quick. I was nice. I was like, subtle, bro. Subtle.
Nice.
There was something else that he said that I just completely lost. I was going to say, what was it? I don't know. I'll think of it and ask you guys later. There were a couple things that was coming at us so quickly that he said that I was like, like every time. And then he would say the next thing.
Like you'd see our heads just go,
yeah.
We wanted some hope.
And then he said an asteroid's coming.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, he kept quoting that movie, Don't Look Up. Watch that. Yeah. By the way, watch that on, is Netflix?
Netflix, yes.
Or is it HBO Max?
No, it's Netflix, yeah.
Watch Don't Look Up on it. It is such a great parable for what we have continuing to go through in the last 5 years since we left.
Oh, I know what it was. That he said that repeat infections of Omicron are happening. Repeat, meaning you're not even, that we already had it and you can get it again.
But you know what? What he said was interesting when I said, wouldn't they do a disease? Wouldn't they do something? If it was weaponized by China, wouldn't they do something to kill? And he was like, no, the best way to do it is make it
slow roll it.
So
you don't have a symptom first.
Right. So people who have no symptoms again. I thought, oh, so great. Thanks again for backing up. We may be attacked.
Yep.
Do you know how smart people would have to be to figure that out, though? Because I'd be like, no, we're going to do it's going to wipe out 80% of the population. Boom. We're done.
That's some evil. That's some evilness. No, don't kill them at first.
If they wanted
evilness.
If they were going to do that, they would have got their country ready, and they wouldn't have had the crazy shutdowns they did.
What did that guy say today on the news that I was yelling at? Like evilness. It's when people they're on Zoom and they try and use big words. Like he said something like transportationalization.
Yeah. It was opportunistical or something, and you were like,
it was something ization he added to.
I live with an English major, and from the bathroom, optimizationalism. What the fuck?
That's not grammatically correct.
She's yelling.
It's not a word at all.
She's heckling the news. You know why? Because we're not having guys like him on, like Eric on. They're having guys that are just pundits. Here's my opinion. I don't care about your opinion. Tell me what happened.
So tired of people's opinions.
Me too.
I'm so tired.
Thanks for watching the podcast and listening where we give our opinions. For myself, the lovely Bombshell Ray and the Highlander. Later.
Oh, fun fact.
No,
you have a fun fact?
you were going to
Oh.
be peace
How
out.
are we doing this?
Peace out.
Oh, peace out, everybody.
Oh, but I don't have a fun fact.
What's your
There
fun-
can be only one.
There you go. What's your
and
fun
now,
Fun fact, everyone.
no.
Speaking of
I don't
smart
think
creatures,
do I sound
right?
like that?
that's how my voice of Rachel
fact?
goes.
We always end. My voice about Rachel is like this. She hates
It's
it.
lilting up.
And his voice, he said.
Yeah, I'm dumb. I'm the dumbest person. She's like, you turned to me and you said, "Can you reach it and get
I
it off the
was
shelf?"
doing I want some coleslaw.
I
I gave him a tell because he didn't like this voice. So now he talk like this.
I know what's that way worse. I'd rather be dumb tough guy than I made some coleslaw.
I love Trev Hot Sauce.
Do all the ads. That voice.
I hate you so much. So, fun fact.
Fun fact. Did you know that dolphins, they're very smart creatures.
Yep.
They're so smart that they sleep with one eye open.
No way.
That's
So
just
they're
true.
also paranoid.
Yes.
Dolphins are good.
What are they looking
paranoid. And he's like,
They don't have COVID.
is that a whale?
Maybe they have ex-wives.
There you go. That's it. Or maybe they're just in bad relationships.
That's what I'm wondering.
Dolphins like
What are
one.
their relational?
They really
Their
want to
relations.
sleep with one eye open.
Yeah.
But that would mean their brain would have to be awake to pay attention, right? Like how
Maybe
do you
one
hold
side
it open?
sleeps.
How do they sleep? That's how smart they are. That
I
like
don't know. But if you want to be really smart, sleep with one eye open.
if you want to be alive, let's just leave it
Yeah.
that way. If you want to stay alive, one eye open.
Yeah.
There you go. And I think that's what we should leave the people with.
You're like,
I sleep in a sleep mask. I don't want any of it. I want all this
She's just gonna feel
to
the
go
knife
away
just repeated
when I go to sleep. Just all of you, just all of
The
it.
world gone.
Just not only are they closed, but I got a mask on, a
maybe they
sound
just
machine.
started from COVID.
That
They're
is
like,
true. Someone could break into our house, and because of the sound machine, you
Our
have to
idiot dogs wouldn't make a sound until I was
Till
already
the third
stabbed.
stab.
Yeah.
The third stab.
And then Chaplin back to sleep. Yes. So anyway, that's brilliant. Dolphins, God bless.
That's an interesting thing.
Gonna
know.
have to
All right,
look
guys,
that up.
Take that into the world and tell people just randomly.
Yeah.
Hey, dolphins sleep with one eye open and then go back to eating. Later, guys. See ya. Bye.